Good evening, friends. Welcome back to JTC Report. Tonight we have a pretty startling story coming out of Russia and Ukraine. Surprised I haven't seen this really headlining much. Looks like it happened late, or I should say early in the morning, Romanian time. Would have been around this morning yesterday for us. But yeah, Russian drone launched against Ukraine crashes in Romania, injuring two. This is from NPR now. Doesn't take a genius to know. The reason this is important is because Romania is a NATO country, meaning they have Article 5 protection of the NATO treaty. An attack on one is an attack on all, and of course, we are part of NATO as well. And so that's why the story is getting some attention, but like I said, not as much as I would have thought. It's gotten buried pretty quick in the day by other headlines. But yeah, this is from NPR. So coming from Kiev, Ukraine, a Russian drone that was part of an overnight attack on Ukraine crashed into an apartment building in eastern Romania, injuring two people, Romanian authorities said Friday. So let's take a look at some of the reports.
Deliberate or accident, both are still possibilities. Either way, this was a drone attack on an EU nation, a NATO member, that injured two civilians. A drone attack, Romanian officials say, launched by Russia. Do we still have safety, she asks? Not anymore, right? We could have died, this woman says. I'm afraid. What can I say? I'm speechless.
You know, it's important. I'm glad they're getting some interviews of the civilians in Romania because, you know, we always focus on the war, the troops, the death counts on the battlefield, but the perceptions of the civilians in the surrounding countries is important because this war for years now has been contained in Ukraine and even parts of Russia, but one of the things keeping it contained is the fact that a lot of surrounding countries don't want anything to do with this battle. Now, this, whether it was intentional or an accident, it can start whipping up a war drum in some of the surrounding countries like Romania. God forbid someone died. We only have two injured, which is already tragic enough. But if someone died, you know, these civilians could start to think, we better arm up too. We better get involved. And of course, being a NATO country, that can drag the rest of us into it, creating the stage for something really ugly. So it's important to look at what the civilians in these places are saying, because ultimately you get enough of them against Russia wanting to pick up arms. This thing expands overnight. It's pretty scary.
2 a.m. in Galati, an eastern town near Romania's border with Ukraine. The torchlight scans the 10th floor carcass of what was someone's apartment. This is not the first time Russian drones have strayed into Romanian territory, but it is the first time their citizens have been hurt.
We had a Russian drone leave Russia. We know the trajectory, we know where it passed through Ukraine, we know where it entered Romania. Part of a swarm of 43 Russian drones, of which only one reached Romanian territory.
So it's important. President of Romania was the one just talking there, and he seems to be going with the theory that this was an accident, which is good to lower the temperature. Because if he thought this was intentional, it'd be easy to see him as the president start to want to join the battle. So I guess it's positive that the president of Romania is assuming this is an accident, that this drone attack was meant for Ukraine, and just so happened to accidentally stray, or one of the drones at least, into Romania. So. Looks like he's trying to bring down the temperature a little bit, but let's see what Putin has to say about it.
Condemnation has rained down on Moscow throughout the day. NATO's General Secretary said Russia's reckless behaviour is a danger to all of us. But it's fallen on deaf and defiant ears here. No one can say where a particular aircraft originates from until it's examined, President Putin told reporters. A less aggressive stance than that of his former Prime Minister. Dmitry Medvedev posted...
That's pretty par for the course for Putin. He's always pretty slimy. He is trying to imply there that we don't know where it came from. Could have come from somewhere else. Now, obviously, it came from Russia. You could tell by the trajectory, where they were going, the flight path. Come on, but that's pretty normal for Putin. He really never accepts defeat or blame for anything. So, not too surprising.
To Telegram, the Euro impotents are throwing a fit over a drone hitting some residential building in Romania. Obviously, it has to be established who launched the drone. But regardless, every EU country really ought to shut up about it. European nations are direct participants in the war against Russia. Adding, citizens of EU countries, as the population of nations at war, shouldn't be going to sleep expecting peaceful nights.
Now, this is terrifying. So if you don't know who Dmitry Medvedev was, he was the former prime minister. This is not a random guy. This is not a journalist or a YouTuber. This was the former leader of the country. And let's target that quote. Citizens of EU countries, as the population of nations at war, shouldn't be going to sleep expecting peaceful nights. So he considers the rest of Europe combatants. which it's not too far of a jump to go from attacking Ukraine to attacking the other nations you see as combatants. So pretty scary stuff from Medvedev, and he's friendly with Putin. He's not detached from the government. He's not some outlying figure, sort of giving his opinion on social media. That's not the only thing he said. Let's take a look at this quote. "So shut your pie hole. You haven't seen anything yet. That said, all those European lowlifes, the idiot EU figureheads, the little bureaucrats running that excuse for a union, know perfectly well how to end this war. So take it up with them." Yeah, and this one really shook me up too. So this was on X. He has an X account too. This guy's busy. "Citizens of EU countries, you should realize your authorities have unilaterally entered into a war with Russia. So be vigilant and don't be surprised by anything. The peaceful sleep is over, but you know who to ask why." So it's reckless. It's very reckless. Again, former prime minister of the country. Take a look at that language. "You should realize your authorities have unilaterally entered a war with Russia." Medvedev fully considers the rest of Europe at war with his country, Russia. It's scary stuff. As of now, this is contained. Romanian president says this was an accident. Most of the going theory out there looks to be considering this an accident. But again, all it takes is another one of these drones to veer off and kill somebody in one of these countries, and this can really spread. It's shocking it hasn't already. So, surprised it's not more in the news. But I'll be taking a look, keeping track of it. It's probably going to get buried like most stories do these days, but something to look out for. I'll be covering it, and yeah. You know where to find me to come back for more updates like these. So again, stay in touch and stay safe out there. Thank you.